This is the 7th piece of legislation that I and Sinn Féin have introduced to strengthen workers' rights in this state. Ceann Comhairle, the right to belong to a trade union is a fundamental human right, recognised by the United Nations, recognised by the European Union, and can only be realised through collective bargaining between employers and unions. But a right is not a right unless it is recognised as such in law. We have a voluntary system of collective bargaining in this state, and while it has brought some benefits and while it works in certain circumstances, it does not work for everybody. And it does not work for those employees who work in companies where those companies will not accept or recognise the trade unions involved. We have seen far too many examples, Ceann Comhairle, of companies, big companies, profitable companies, which will not recognise trade unions, which dictate to the workforce who should represent the workers or who should not. And I don't believe that's fair. It's a bit like a court case where your opponent in court has a veto over who should represent you. We would not tolerate that in a legal scenario. We shouldn't tolerate it in the world of industrial relations as well. We have very good industrial relations machinery in this state. And I do recognise that some moves were made in recent times to ensure that we had at least involvement of all sides in any resolutions and in any mediation or in any court hearings. But at the end of the day, a worker should have the right not only to join a trade union, which they do have in this state, but to be represented by their trade union. And trade unions are skilled people who can represent people who are not in a position to represent themselves, who do not have the means to employ barristers and solicitors and others. They join a trade union, they pay a fee, and then that trade union representative is there to give them the support that they need if and when a conflict arises in the workplace. So I think we have to bring ourselves into line with the vast majority of states in the European Union and around the world in making sure that we not only have the right to join a trade union, but the right for all workers to collectively bargain and all workers to be represented by their trade union. Far too many bills that we brought forward on workers' rights have been knocked back by this government. And as Dr. Adams said this morning, the Taoiseach and the previous Taoiseach always say that they want solutions from the opposition. And when we give them solutions simply because they don't like it, because they're ideologically opposed to workers' rights, they won't accept what is progressive, relevant and necessary legislation that we